Welcome back everyone. Today I have this really pretty vibrant coral monochromatic makeup look for you. I had no idea what I was going to create, I just knew I wanted to use the new Huda Beauty matte and metal melted eyeshadows. So as you can probably hear, I am full of cold, I look rough, I feel rough, so I'm going to get straight on with the foundation and even out my complexion. I'm using the bareMinerals BAREPRO Full Coverage Foundation, and the brush I'm going to use is this new one I received from It Cosmetics, which is a heart shape and it has a beautiful see-through glitter handle, which I will link below for you. And I'm using that to buff this foundation onto the skin. If you don't already know, bareMinerals is a completely cruelty-free brand. This is a vegan foundation and it comes in 30 shades. Next I'm going in with the Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer. And I'm going to pop this underneath my eyes just to give me a little bit more lift. So this is a water resistant formula that gives you full coverage and it comes in a radiant matte finish. I believe there are about 20 shades available in this concealer, so there really is something for everybody. The formula itself has been infused with green tea, which is known for its healing properties in terms of erasing discoloration and signs of stress underneath the eyes. Here's my collection of the matte and metal melted eyeshadows by Huda Beauty. The one I'm going to be using is called Hot Sauce and I'm only using the matte side. These can appear quite scary because they're super fluid, but they're so easy to work with. If you're a beginner when it comes to blending eyeshadow, these are going to be your new best friend. My top tip when working with these is to use a synthetic brush because this is a liquid, so it can clog natural hair bristles. Whereas it won't do that with synthetic hair, so it's going to be so much easier for you. My favourite is this one I'm using right now, which is the Base Shadow Brush by Real Techniques, and I will link them in the description bar for you. So I've blended that out just above the crease line towards the eyebrow bone, and I'm winging that out on the outer corner, so we're creating a kind of elongated almond shape. We want to make sure we lift it on the outer edge so it doesn't droop the eye downwards. This is the ideal look even if you've got hooded eyes because we're taking this over that entire lid area, so it doesn't matter if you do have a hood, you just need a little bit of space between your eye itself and your brow bone. If your eyelid space is quite small, just don't take it up so high. I'm dipping into my Natasha Denona Safari palette. This is a matte palette and I'm taking Desert Date and I'm using a flat shader brush to pop this onto the centre of the lid. Once you blend this in, it's going to be very subtle. We're just doing this to create a slightly lighter peach finish to the centre. Next I'm going into Aya and I'm just popping this on the very centre in a little line and it's going to create a bit of a highlight. Once that's tapped in with the brush to feather the colours together, it's going to be super subtle but almost just make the lids look a little bit bigger. This part's optional. I'm going to use the Benefit roller liner in black to line the top lid. If you want it to be more monochromatic and a little bit softer, then you can just use false eyelashes and some mascara and keep it quite wispy and soft. I decided once I did one line that I wanted to thicken it up from the inner third of the lash line towards the outer edge. So that very first line on the inner third is super thin and then you thicken it. This pen is super easy for creating a really nice sharp wing, and as you can see it's really black. Now as I usually apply a black or brown along my waterline, I decided I would use a cream colour today to change things up, even though I desperately wanted to apply something dark along my waterline. This is the Eye Bright Pencil by Benefit, and this is just going to make the eyes look bigger and it diminishes any pinky tones, making the eye look healthy. It's now time for mascara. This is the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir Mascara. If you followed me for many years, you know I absolutely used to love this mascara. It was my holy grail mascara. It's a little bit expensive, but it's so nice and it just gives you volume straight away. I was going to keep this just to the top lid, but I decided I wanted to apply a little bit underneath the eye. So I'm going back in with Hot Sauce and my base shadow brush and blending that underneath the eye, making sure I connect that with the outer corner of the top lid so it frames the eye. I feel like leaving it just on the top is very editorial. It's something I would do for a photo shoot, but in terms of wearing it personally, it looks a bit better if there's some balance and symmetry. As we have that nude colour along our waterline, we don't want our eyes to look odd, so we want lashings of mascara along our bottom lashes. We want them to look full and fluffy, a bit of a 60s vibe. Now I probably should have done this step before I did mascara, but I decided afterwards I wanted to create a fine line of colour slightly lower than the tear duct. So I'm applying it with a fine liner brush and then using the blending brush just to soften it. For lashes I'm using this set by Huda Beauty, and what I like about these is they're quite wispy but they're still full and they have a mix of black and brown hair in them. So moving back onto the skin, I'm taking my cream bronzer by Chanel and I'm using my IT Cosmetics brush to stipple that over the cheekbone area. Rather than using it as a contour, we are slightly sculpting the face, but we're adding a little bit of colour to the face as well. So rather than using a powder bronzer, I'm just using a cream bronzer, and I'm using this on the areas that the sun would naturally hit the face. We're going to add more blush than we are contour, so we're going to keep this quite subtle, but we do need to warm up the face so it looks a little bit more natural rather than flat and lifeless. To sink the hollows of the cheeks, I'm going to use my Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting powder, and I'm using this on a duo fibre brush because I only want a very light application into the hollows of the cheeks. For blush, I'm going to use a colour very similar to what we've got on the eyes, even though it's not picking up that close up to the camera. This is Lover Blush by Illamasqua, and this is also in a matte finish. And you want this to be quite visible, so tap off the excess product and then layer it slowly until you're happy with the intensity. As I'm quite oily, I need to mattify my skin. I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder just through the centre of the face. On the lips, I'm using a product by Buxom. This is a lip pencil called their Plumpline Lip Liner in the shade Confidential. And that completes my vibrant coral monochromatic makeup look. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's a little bit different, a little bit fun. I know it won't be for everybody, but I just wanted to have a play with those amazing Huda Beauty eyeshadows. Don't forget, everything I've used will be listed and linked in the description bar for your convenience. If you've got any suggestions for tutorials, please leave them in the comment section below. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you missed last week's tutorial, it will be on screen for you. And if you would like to follow me outside of YouTube, my social handles are on screen. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!